What's up, everybody? It is Move the Sticks. I'm Bucky Brooks, and I'm here with my man Lance Z, stepping in for DJ. We're gonna talk about all things combine. Lance, I know you're kind of the king of the combine. What's going on, my man?
I'm not king of the combine. That designation goes back to Alonzo Highsmith, who is back with the New England Patriots. So kind of inside baseball there, but if you know, you know. So yeah, Zoe is back in the NFL game. So the true king of the combine is back.
No, so look, it's so great, and it kind of jumps off a little bit. Alonzo coming back, Elliott Wolf taking over as the king decision maker for the New England Patriots. It should be fun because we got all our guys. All our guys are moving on up. Chad Alexander is assistant general manager with the LA Chargers. We got Poles, got to make your boy. You got to make big decisions. He's probably not returning your phone calls at all.
That's how it works now. Once they get up to a certain level, man,
it all changes.
It's a wrap.
So it is a wrap. And so what you have to do is when you see him, he probably doesn't even go out and about anymore. So then when you bump into him, you got to tell him, it's like your phone doesn't work anymore. We can't get down. We're not buddies anymore.
I was that say, hold on, man. I think you may have accidentally muted me. Check the check on the contact list. But no, there's some interesting storylines. The top three is going to be a big 1, 2, 3. You got new decision makers going on and at number 2 and number 3. You've got, of course, the Patriot way is not Gerard Mayo is there, but the Green Bay way. And Elliott has been very specific about they're going to do things the Green Bay way, which is building slow and steady and making sure that they're constantly getting better. They're not going to force things. I think that's frankly what New England has been missing for several years. It got too inside. The circle got too tight, and I don't know that there was a balance of information and a balance of opinion in that building. And so number 3 is going to be one of the most interesting picks to me in this year's draft for a variety of reasons, but primarily, how do you stack the quarterbacks versus wide receivers? I know that's not what we're talking about today, but I'm just telling you, that's one of the
I don't know. Look, this is a preview for the combine. So let's talk about that because you and I haven't had a chance to scrimmage these things. Let's talk about the number one issue that everyone is going to talk about in this combine are how the quarterbacks stack. And so let me hear your take. How do you have the guys ranked right now, 1 to 3 at quarterback?
Right now, I've got it Caleb a little bit ahead of Jaden Daniels. Then I go with a boom bust grade for Drake May. Then slightly below that would be Bo Nix. Bo Nix, and then J.J. McCarthy right after that, and then Michael Penix. It's not going to go down like that. J.J. McCarthy is going to be at least the 4th quarterback off the board and outside chance of the 3rd. It just seems like NFL teams are really – there are some teams that are a lot higher on them than the general public seems to be, and that's because I think they see intangibles that maybe the public is potentially missing. So I will say when I went back and I'm watching DBs and guys playing against Michigan, the more I watched Michigan's offense against the DBs I'm watching, I'm like, ooh, that was a nice throw by JJ. And so I wondered if maybe I was one of those days where I kind of had some blinders on and maybe I didn't see some of the things that he was doing. So I think it's going to be big for him. You got 3 quarterbacks who have decided not to throw here, potentially the top 3. That's a big opening for Penix, Nix, and McCarthy. And then, to a lesser extent, I think Spencer Rattler. So it's opened the doors. These guys who are not working out kind of open the doors for other guys to become a bigger part of the conversation.
So let's break this up in a few, because the way that you read it off, you had Caleb Williams as a notch ahead of Jaden Daniels, and then you had.
But I don't have it
as a wild card.
I don't have it as big a spread as other people do. I think.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, because I'll give my take on Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams is very good. I can't say that he's great. I think the conversation that has been around him for the last year and a half, 2 years about him being Pat Mahomes, I think that is over the top. I think he's a really good prospect. I think he's special at doing some things in an improvisational way. I think he has arm talent, but I don't know. It's not I don't know. I just don't see him as the game changer that Pat Mahomes is. I just think he's a really good prospect. I think he's going to have to learn how to play on time. He's going to have to be a little more disciplined when it comes to taking care of the ball, right situation, right environment. He's a winning quarterback, a starting quarterback, a Pro Bowl quarterback. I can't say that I see him and say, hey, he's a gold jacket guy like people are talking about, like with Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, that's how I see it exactly. And I was expecting to see that on tape. And when you watch the tape, and I went back to last year too, and there's some of the same stuff. I mean, coming off schedule so much, I know it's hard to kind of relearn to trust your receivers, trust the process, trust the offense, trust your reads. I know he sees certain guys open, but he doesn't want to throw short of the sticks on third down like ever. So he tries to extend everything. And I give him credit. Like when he leaves a pocket, he's still looking to hurt you with his legs first. I mean, his arm first. But I think at some point there needs to be a balance of go ahead and beat teams with your legs when you need to. Go ahead and take that little third option cross five, shallow cross, so that little late crosser or running back leaking out of the backfield. Go ahead and take that. And if you got to punt, you got to punt. So I think getting them to play on time and play with the rhythm and to trust the reads, I think is going to be a battle. But the talent is all there. I mean, he's very, very talented. But honestly, Bucky, when I watched Jaden Daniels' tape, he had better tape this year than Caleb Williams. I don't think it's really even arguable, to be honest with you. But you don't just grade the tape, you grade the projection. Jaden Daniels, if he were 220 pounds, he'd be the first pick to me. But he's not. He's a slender guy.
Wait. I can't let that go. I can't let that go. We got to pick that up, because that is going to be picked up. You're saying that if Jaden Daniels was 220 pounds, he would be the number one pick in the draft.
I think if he were built a little different, not so slender, yes, because he's a rare, name me the run pass guy, name me the dual threat quarterback that was as dangerous a passer as he was a runner. And I think that's what Jaden Daniels is. And we can go through a lot of dual threat quarterbacks, but rarely will you see a guy, to me, that showed the ability to get through progressions, throw with accuracy. I thought Jaden Daniels did a lot with his arm, and then when he gets outside of the pocket, we're talking about a 1,000-yard rusher. So he's kind of one of those rare guys where the scale doesn't slide heavy on the run side and lighter on the pass side. That dude is pretty balanced as a dual threat quarterback. I just think, and rightfully so, you see him, man, that is he is slim. He's not slim thick. He's just slim.
He's slim, but he's slim like Lamar Jackson is slim. But he is a better passer in college than Lamar Jackson was.
Yeah.
I think your point about him being kind of the one, I think people are sleeping on Jaden Daniels, even though now it's become more popular to rank him as the number 2 quarterback. But when you watch him, look, Lance, he's the only player in FBS history to have 12,000 pass yards and 3,000 rush yards. No one has done it. He's a fifth-year player with 55 starts under his belt. He went from a place at Arizona State where it was loosey-goosey to now he played under a guy who was a disciplinarian and Brian Kelly, and his game flourished. There's a lot to like about Jaden Daniels in terms of being the guy at the top of the board. And it will be interesting as they get to it with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams has kind of been grandfathered in as the number 1. But it will be interesting because we saw this last year. Bryce Young goes number 1, C.J. Stroud goes number 2. And right now, there are people that are trying to figure out how did they ever rate Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud. Because when you look at C.J. Stroud, he checked off all the boxes in terms of size, arm talent, throwing. He goes to H-Town and puts it down. And now everyone is like, ooh.
Where you go matters, though, Bucky. I mean, where you go matters. And I think if you look at it, I think going to Chicago is going to be potentially better than going to Washington right now. I mean, as it's built now, I think Poles got he's got 2 picks in the top 10 in Chicago. You added a very good wide receiver last year when you made a smart trade with Carolina. I think that where you go certainly mattered for Bryce versus C.J. Stroud. So that matters too. But if you're a special Pat Mahomes type, you can you have the ability to raise people around you.
Yeah, always. I mean, or you're a James Harden type. I am the system.
I am the system. Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Hey, I want to ask you, Bucky, how much because this is a big deal this year. Michael Penix is going to be a 25-year-old rookie, 24-year-old rookie for Bo Nix, 24-year-old rookie for Jaden Daniels. These guys played a lot of football. Daniels and Nix, they kind of, I don't want to say Bo Nix reinvented himself in Oregon. Jaden Daniels just extended what he had started in Arizona State, and they both got better as their careers went on. Are you bothered at all by quarterbacks who are 24 years old? Because the flip side is they are much more experienced and they have gone through ups and downs and learned to overcome some adversity.
Yeah, I actually like it. I actually like the fact that they have some scuffs and scrapes, and so this is great because you took me to where we should go. I think Nix and Penix have to travel together just because of their experience and their age thing. So what I like about Bo Nix is Bo Nix has played a ton of games, right? I mean, you just think about the amount of starts that he has logged on his time at Auburn and Oregon. He has improved the last 2 years at Oregon. He has become an absolute dealer. I have envisions of him playing in an offense like a Sean McVay type offense where he absolutely crushes it, doing things that are very similar to Jared Goff, but he's a more athletic version of what Jared Goff could present in that offense. I just think his experience, I think his intangibles, his maturity, his toughness, all those things are off the charts. You just have to know what you're getting. You're not getting a home run hitter. You're getting a singles and doubles hitter. You're getting Ichiro. You're getting a guy that wants to play more small ball or whatever. Now, Michael Penix is a big play hunter. Everything is bombs away. He's attacking down the field. He wants to play vertical. He wants to do it. I was super high on him. I know he has 4 season-ending injuries. I know people will talk about the frame and the toughness and those things. But if we're just talking about spinning it, there are not many guys that spin it like he spins it. I mean, we'll talk about the talent that he has on the perimeter at UW, but man, you just talk about attacking the field. He attacks the field like nobody's business.
My only, there's 2 things that concern me with him. It's the injuries. I don't really care about the age. I do care about a little bit that his numbers were so I followed the numbers and went and watched the tape, and he just isn't the same passer when you make him move his feet and get it outside of the pocket. It just the accuracy, the poise, it comes way down. When he's in the pocket, though, nobody threw a bigger percentage of intermediate and deep balls than in their offense than Michael Penix. And I thought Ryan Grubbs, the offense coordinator over there, I thought Grubbs' play calling and passing system was great for giving us a look at what Michael Penix could look like on the pro level, because it's not dink and dunk stuff. Mm-hmm. He's got a lot of opportunities to explore the intermediate. He's got a lot of ability to take a look at safeties and make decisions on safety corner combinations in terms of how they're covering and make decisions on some of the combo routes they had. I think that offense gives you a good look at who Michael Penix could be on the pro level. The game against Texas might have been the best game I saw any quarterback play in college. Last year, the best game I saw of any quarterback was C.J. Stroud versus Georgia. And we saw how that worked out. The best game I saw this year was Michael Penix against Texas. I'm not sure. The next game wasn't great. I don't know how much of that was his fault. The offensive line just wasn't protecting, but and they really didn't. They had a beat up running back. It was a lot of things that didn't work in their favor. But you look at Penix and Texas and the flashes in that one, and you go, whew, man, if he could put this together on a regular basis, this guy is going to be a real problem in an offense that lets him attack vertically.
Yeah, he's the biggest one that needs the pieces around him to be in place, particularly the protection. Last thing on the quarterback, I think Drake May and J.J. McCarthy are more similar than different, and a couple of different facts. One, everyone's going to love the intangibles. They're going to love the prototypical size and dimensions that they bring, the arm talent that also shows up. Well, both of those guys also have the least amount of experience of the guys that we're talking about. Yeah. Both of these guys have fewer than 30 starts in their respective careers. Why did you dub Drake May the biggest boom or bust prospect at the position?
Well, because the traits are great. The arm talent is really a plus. Doesn't throw with a whole lot of touch. I think the reading the field is an issue. I didn't love his wide receivers this year. Now, he had Josh Downs, who was really good last year. He had Walker this year, Tez Walker, who is a good deep ball threat, but really struggles sometimes in terms of ball skills and his hands underneath. But some of that is Drake May throwing at 100 miles an hour. Like, you got to back off and give your guys a chance to learn how to throw that off speed pitch every once in a while, because your wide receivers need that. So I still think he's very much a player in progress. Like, we don't know. We haven't seen the best of Drake May, which is the boom stuff. He's got a lot of great stuff to him. The bust is that I think the expectations are so high on him, but I don't think he's there yet. And if you rush him into something, I think that could be a big mistake. I think he's one of those guys you don't want to rush into game action. I think you want to try to have him sit for half a year or maybe a full year and really learn an offense and learn to have some whoa as opposed to all that go.
Well, I like that. So look, this is a natural breaking point. So look, let's take a break. But on the other side, I got questions, Lance. I got questions. Look, we'll be right back after this break. All right, Lance, so I teased it. I told you I got a bunch of questions going into the combine. This is what the combine is for. The combine is to help scouts, coaches, personnel people answer some of the questions that popped off the tape. So I got a question for you. Who is the prospect that you're most excited to see this week?
Oh, man. For the whole week, there's actually, speaking of questions, to stay on this theme, there's a long pass rusher from Kansas named Austin Booker. And that may not be the name you were looking for, but this joker has played one season of football. He's played just over 500 total snaps of college football. And you know how low that is, Bucky. Spent 2 years at Minnesota. I think he had 8 snaps his second year, none his first year. Transferred to Kansas, was not a full-time starter, still ended up with something like 8.5 sacks. His work against Banks, the left tackle from Texas, who's considered a high-end left tackle prospect next year, was fantastic. This guy he's 6'6", like 240, and he's got really intriguing leverage with his length. He's a relentless rusher. He shows flashes that are like a smaller version of Tyree Wilson. And I'm thinking, wait a minute now, this guy's only played 500 snaps basically of college football. He's got 1 year of football under his belt. That's it. He's only 240 pounds, and yet I think he's going to test great. And you know the big problem is I missed on Max Crosby. I thought Max Crosby's too skinny. He doesn't have big arms. He's not going to be strong enough. But he's got so much dog and I could see it on tape. Never underestimate dog. Because Max Crosby, and he let me hear about it on Twitter too. Don't worry, he came back with some receipts on him. That's fine. That's fine. I like it. He has that edge. I'm not missing on another Max Crosby. If I miss on Austin Booker, that's fine. But I learned from Max Crosby, you better trust what you see on tape and maybe not get too caught up. When guys are that relentless and find ways around the block, that ends up playing in the NFL too.
Okay, so I got a name for you. Listening to you reminds me of Ziggy Ansah. Ziggy Ansah coming out of BYU, came out of nowhere, didn't know where he was, popped up, and then ends up being a guy that played at a Pro Bowl level for the Detroit Lions. Not saying they're the same, but when you listen to the production and the limited amount of action, it does lead you to be like, maybe, so maybe those things can happen.
But I really want to see Chop Robinson too. Like, I think.
Yeah.
Am I stealing yours? Because Chop am I watching another Micah Parsons?
I wonder, man, because he's on Bruce Feldman's freaks list. Everyone has talked about he's going to run into 4.4s. He's going to jump over a tall building and single bound. He's going to do all those things, but you don't see the production, right? So you don't have significant sack production. So you just wonder. However, the flashes, the first step quickness, the burst, all of those traits are there. And we've seen Penn State the last couple of years, they have had some remarkable athletes kind of come through those doors. And and you see them flash. And so I'm with you. Chop Robinson is a guy for me because I have him in the top 5. I put him in mocks and those things. But this guy's speed and quickness, I think he can make the biggest jump of anybody at the combine. So yeah, I'm with you on Chop Robinson. Who do you feel like is the most slept on? Who's the most slept on guy that the name that people aren't talking enough about that we will be buzzing about when the combine ends?
At any position?
Yeah, just anybody.
Oh man, there's a guy. Let me pull him up. He is. I got done watching him, and from Florida State, the corner Green. Want to make sure I get his first name right. That guy. Here he is, Renardo Green. Renardo Green, I'm watching him, and I start off right off the bat with LSU. So he's got to get Brian Thomas Jr. and he's got Malik Neighbors. So good luck with that. This guy was an absolute blanket. Malik Neighbors didn't like it. He was all over every route Malik threw him. And I was shocked. He stays low off a press, and he'll match the release. He'll let you turn it outside if you want. He'll give it to you. And then he's got so much quickness and so much bend and change of direction that he is able to just shadow everything from the top. Anywhere you want to bend it, he's going to be right there with you. I kept myself from giving him a first round grade. I'm like, No one's talking about him. I got to be too high on him. But, you know, if he's showing that I gave him a second-round grade, but I expect him to run well. And when he does, I think that's the name you're going to hear a lot because people are really sleeping on Renardo Green. He is really talented. I think he might end up being better than Kool-Aid McKinstry, who is probably going to go in one.
That's nice. I like that.
Watch him, Buck. I'm interested to see what you think too, because man, it's guys with body control that are built low to the ground and don't have that little tilt, you know, when they can't slow themselves down, that momentum, that top heavy stuff.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that. Everything's built low, so he's able to shift and bend very quickly from the lower half.
Yeah, this is funny, the name that I'm going to give you in terms of sleeping on, and maybe I'm partial because his dad was in Carolina when I was there, Chris Jenkins. Chris Jenkins' athleticism is going to make people go crazy. Now, they're going to look at the Michigan thing, and they're going to look at the production and be like, why didn't he have more stuff? But I'm going to tell you right now, if he had any of the stuff that his dad had, because remember, his dad was a second-round pick coming out of Maryland. There were people that thought he was a bit of an enigma, couldn't figure it out. He plays, he jumps in that line, and part of the reason that team went to the Super Bowl because he dominated on the inside. I'm not saying that Junior is the same, but Junior's traits, you're just not going to find guys that are his size that can move like him and do all that other stuff. And depending on, we talk about scouting the coaches, knowing what you have, man, if you have a good D-line coach that knows how to kind of get him going, he has all the things that you look for. So I think people are sleeping on him. Yeah. And then I would say this, the linebacker, and I don't know how well he's going to test, but there are a lot of people that will buzz about him. But, man, I'm going to say this. I think Peyton Wilson may end up being the best linebacker that comes out of this group in terms of inside linebacker. When you look at the instincts, the intangibles, the toughness, the effort that he plays with, to me, he's a throwback linebacker. Injuries are going to be a part of his evaluation because he's been beat up a little bit at NC State. But this dude is a real dude, man. He is a real one from sideline to sideline controlling the game.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about, you know, I've had some people share the fact that they're a little worried about how the medicals are going to come out on him, which I think is, you know, in turn impacting me a little bit.
It's not going to be.
But Buck, he's 6'4". I mean, he's a 6'4", 240-pound linebacker now, and he can run. You don't find a lot of those dudes.
LVE, Leighton Vander Esch type. Like when you think about like that size, that length, like being able to kind of punish folks or whatever. Last one. Give me a surprise name. So on Thursday, the combine kicks off Thursday, February 29th with D-line and linebackers, 3 p.m. Eastern on NFL Network and NFL Plus. So for everyone tuning into that I just read, give me one name. Give me one name that we need to pay attention to.
I would say Michael Hall from Ohio State. This guy is going to be I have to believe, watching him on tape, his quickness numbers are going to be off the charts. Like if he tests, he's going to be explosive. He's going to have a high vert, a good broad. He's going to have short area stuff. And my guess is he's going to run somewhere in the 4.8s. Like this guy is a little undersized, but he's incredibly disruptive. You got to have a plan for him because he is a little smaller. But as a sub-package rusher, frankly, he's just too much for guards to handle. So I think he's going to end up really testing exceptionally well. That's a guy, you know, it's a position that I think Tavondre Sweat's going to come in really heavy. That's what the buzz is. He could fall in this draft. Somebody else is going to rise up. I think Hall may be one of those guys that tests well and rises up in the draft process.
Well, look, man, I'm excited. You and I are going to be there on the call. We're going to be on Combine today on all the digital platforms. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you catch Lance and myself afterward. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to be doing pods, kind of reviewing what took place the previous day. So make sure you keep it locked to move the sticks. Should be fun. Lance, look forward to seeing you at the Combine. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Let's get it, Buck.
Talk to you soon. All right,
Looking forward to it.
Later, guys.